All right, here we go. All right, are we good?
I should animate like a 10 hours later, right there.
Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning. Is this the type of news?
Martin, are we watching? Are we turning into Medea now? Are you gonna get some big pictures and a weed?
I can't be 6 foot overnight, but
true.
It's the type of news. I'm Dutch Pyramid.
I'm Bruce Robinson.
Yes, sir. Yes, and we are witnessing the rebirth of the regressive Labour Party, and they are out in full-fledged, and it is making me tired. I'm tired. So everyone has heard about the Shelly Bay Concessions, and obviously it's been resolved now in a swift and valiant victory by Laverne Ferber and the Golden Girls. But
I don't think they deserve to be called the Golden Girls. Betty White is always a win. They can call them the Tin Girls. Tin's useless. Aluminum Girls. Well, no, aluminum's useful. What's a useless material?
This is somebody's granny. Okay, I keep telling you. Terrible.
And I'm somebody's son, and they come after me, crucifying me on a daily basis because stuff my dad did back in 2013. What difference does it make if just somebody's granny or not? I am not a man of patience and understanding.
Lord have mercy. Let the Lord walk into this room. I have an eyelash in my eye. But
let the Lord walk?
Fly? I don't know.
Let him walk right back out too.
What I'm going to tell you is if we look at this concession thing, the BTA was looking to place concessions on the beach, Ash's Lemonade, Smoking Barrels, and Sid's Fish Fry.
Yes.
And a beach and boat rental. Here's the thing. I do agree that with the concessions, it could have did a little bit of tweaking. I don't think a boat rental, a paddleboard rental, anything like that is necessary at Shelly Bay. I would have went for Ash's Lemonade and Sid's Fish Fry, especially.
I think that's genius.
Yeah, and I understand that some folks didn't want it on the beach. It could have been on the grass.
Or it could have just been where Yardie Kitchen used to be.
Yeah, I'm sure they're still working it out. I mean, I think it's kind of finalized, but it could be still worked out. But it is extremely sad how easily buzzwords really take hold in society, where somebody says commercialization, gentrification, and everybody's like, oh, no, and it's just, but when you say commercialization, you're talking about something more along the lines of Tobacco Bay,
there's levels to commercialization. Yeah, the word commercialization can mean everything from one person with like a table selling glass candy, which I ain't seen anybody selling in a while, versus chairs on the beach everywhere, umbrellas everywhere, you gotta pay $15 to come there, overpriced drinks, overpriced food. Like, I don't think that that's what they were going for Tobacco Bay, because...
Shelly Bay.
Right, Shelly Bay.
It's cool. I said Tobacco Bay earlier.
Yeah.
No, I was talking about
I know, that's what messed me up.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get to Tobacco Bay later. Now, this is my issue. Ash's Lemonade won the low stander, and the Fish Fry won the low stander. And everybody, I watched on the news, there was a group of elderlies that were like, oh, we want the beach to be wheelchair accessible, we want the beach to be for disabled kids, and we want everybody to be able to come there and have a good time. Why can't they already do that? Now, I will admit, like, in my opinion, I do agree that beaches can be a bit more wheelchair accessible. I do believe that Shelly Bay is wheelchair accessible because they have a ramp and not stairs.
Yeah, it could be a bit more wheelchair accessible.
It could be a bit more because that ground's not always a little even. If one was to build like a little concrete path, like from the stairs to the beach, I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, do that, but not without disrupting the playground and everything. But the thing is, that's fine. There's enough room to put something like that there. But these lot are sitting there saying, that, oh, we don't want to commercialize because we want it to be for disabled kids. Do disabled kids not like Ashley's Lemonade?
But I just feel
it does. Like, does their disability affect them to not want sugar and fried fries and fish?
But this is what I'm saying, and I what I don't like about right now these protests and stuff is they're always cited to be for the children, right? And when you take a protest up, you protest at the airport for the children, you protest at Shelly Bay for the children, but none of the actual issues that are affecting the children have I ever seen the older generation protest for. I have never seen the older generation come out and protest or come out and have a huge gathering in support of road sobriety tests or a huge gathering for checkpoints so that we can stop losing young people and losing people under 40 on the roads because of silly decisions. I've never seen the elderly come out and gather for trade schools, for medical schools, for things that would influence the young people. I've never seen the elderly come out.
There might be a handful of them that do, but not nearly as much as come out for all the other stupidness.
And protest for or people who have been killed in gun violence. And you had somebody that was taken out just recently who wasn't even affiliated.
Wait, what?
And I didn't see any sort of any sort of backlash or any sort of gathering.
No,
for that.
He just sent his picture around on WhatsApp and sleep in peace, and then that's it.
Now this is the stuff that's affecting children. So what are you actually doing for the children? Because we can get the airport back. That's in the clause. Whether you choose to read or you choose to believe in propaganda or not is in the deal. The deal's online. Read it. We get it back. So the children, maybe not my children, but somebody's children are gonna reap the rewards of that airport, whether we all like it or not.
My problem with the older generation is they use the word children to push their own agenda, which is pretty messed up if you really think about it. They don't want concessions on the beach, so they use the word children. They don't like the airport, so they use the word children. They don't want this, so they say, oh, the children, but like, we live in a country that disrespects, disregards, and doesn't really care about children. Because in the eyes of most people, we're children. We're not, we're grown men, but I hear from a lot of old people say, oh, anybody younger than me is a child. That is the stupidest thing that could ever come out of somebody's mouth.
But here's the thing. The government went out of the way to apologize for the healthcare rising and, for seniors and all that stuff having to pay such large bills. But they didn't take the time to apologize for why the reformation of these schools was taking so long. They didn't take the time to apologize as to why a campaign pledge, which was supposed to have youth housing, entry-level housing, fell through.
Or they didn't apologize as to why a young mother under the age of 25 can't get financial aid. They didn't apologize for why young people are coming back from school and not being able to find jobs in their field. They apologize for all the old people stuff because the problem is, and I see that there's an effort from the PLP because we did go to that the PLP Youth Night thing, and honestly, being able to have young people being able to speak to the
but I mean, young people are a buzzword. That's what I'm saying.
I understand that, but it seems like some part of them is trying. I just don't feel it's trying hard enough. Because I have to give credit where credit is due, but at the same time, y'all can do a lot better.
I just feel as though when you look at the spectrum when you run, it's always
old.
Yeah, and it's like the only follow through is for the older generation, which we all know is truly PLP's based.
And the older generation pushes the younger generation to vote for what they want.
But my thing is, we respect the older generation, obviously, because they paved the way and they put in the struggle and the sacrifice to get us where we are. However, you also have to take time to water the seeds behind. We eventually will wither. It's just how it goes. And if we wither, and
they go wither first.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, so we're not going to progress, but tourism is hanging on by a thread. Whether Bermudians choose to accept it or not, we continuously act like we don't know how our country makes money. We continuously say, well, we want Bermuda for Bermudians, but we also have to realize that we have a responsibility to those come behind us to understand that we are a tourist destination. And yes, it is irritating sometimes when I'm trying to get to work and 20,000 tourists on the bus and I have to stand up. But at the same time, they're here to spend money, and that money is not just going to benefit me, but it's going to benefit people behind me.
No, I had to stop and think to myself the other day that I was walking through Front Street and all of these tourists, and I'm like, man, all these tourists. Wait a second.
All these tourists.
Good. All these tourists. All right. Yay. Yeah. But
what tourists is going to go down to Shelly Bay?
Tourists don't go to Shelly Bay. Actually, I would argue that the tourists don't go to the east end of the island at all. And when I say east end, I mean from town that way. Wait, where's east? Well, east is that way. But either way, this is the problem. Now, some people say, "Oh, tourists go to Sick Town and St. George's. Tourists go to Unfinished." No, they don't. Not really.
Not en masse.
The town of St. George's sees what? A few hundred visitors a year?
We'd have to talk to Miss White about this then.
Well, I can't quote that, but it's not nearly as much. I went to Horseshoe Bay first day cup match. At least 2,000-3,000 tourists there.
Oh yeah, pay boots.
At least.
Because it's the most capable beach.
And I understand that that's an event. I understand that that's an event that people come down here for. I get that. But even when I'm riding Dockyard, I would take a look at Horseshoe Bay and all I see is tourists.
Oh yeah. Because that's the most capable beach. That's the beach that's pushed. It's in all of the most beautiful beaches list.
And if they don't go Horseshoe, they go Warwick.
That is a commercialized beach.
Exactly. If you go, but the thing is, Horseshoe is commercialized, but only a section of it is commercialized. For the most part, anyone can go there.
Yeah, but we just know that it is catered to and pushed to the forefront of tourism. So it's like, that tourists are going to dominate that beach for the summer.
And I do think that it's probably very easy for people when the word commercialization is presented to them. Obviously, the first thing that they're going to think of is the rum bum incident. And people are going to think of a couple of weeks ago when Tobacco Bay illegally, and now the government did come after them and say, hey, you can't do that, points to do. But Tobacco Bay was telling people that you can't come here, like locals can't come, we're doing an event. Now, don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure about the story, but I do remember hearing about it. I remember, it was explained to me by a family member that they couldn't go, so that they had to go Fort St. Catherine instead because the beach was commercialized. Now, Tobacco Bay is very commercialized and it's very small. I would make the argument that, like Tobacco, well, I understand that the hotel is taking Fort St. Catherine. That's all fine and dandy. But I would make the argument that Fort St. Catherine would be much more commercializable than Tobacco. If anything, they should have just switched. But that can't happen now, so it's getting commercialized anyway because the hotel's going there. But people think of these things and they think, oh, I don't want that to happen to Shelly Bay. Oh, Shelly Bay, so that's because when I think of family picnic, family reunion, family gathering beaches, I think Clearwater and I think Shelly Bay.
Yes, sir.
But you know what's funny? Clearwater is commercialized. You know what's funny? Clearwater does events. Clearwater is always busy. But the thing is, you don't feel that the concessions are necessary. And because it's not directly on the beach. Now, I understand that they're saying not on the beach, but you've got that big area where Yardie Kitchen, I think it was Yardie Kitchen Jamaican, I can't remember which one it was. That Jamaican restaurant that was there years ago has been flattened. So put something there. Look, what's the harm of selling lemonade and chicken, of fish?
Yeah.
Who's it hurting?
I understand the standpoint of, we want to protect Bermuda for Bermudians. I understand that. But these concessions would have, in my opinion, been more geared towards locals because, honestly, if tourists do travel down to Shelly Bay, they're probably not going to travel down there just to get a fish fry when they can stop in anywhere on the way before they get there. And I do think that Shelly Bay is a very local dominated beach. Always has been.
It's got the playground, it's got the park, it's got the cricket. But that's another thing.
And I think that would have been a great business venture for Ash's Lemonade and Sid, because they would have been able to get more customers down there. And if you had a family function, you probably could have brought less food because there would have been a place there for you to get some food.
But,
might still be.
But the thing is, even it's just convenient. it's let's say, hey, everybody goes to a family thing. Oh man, I forgot to get something. Oh look, I have money. Let's get it. I'll get some fish and I'll get everybody lemonade. Yeah. Or let's say, hey, I want to go swimming with some of my friends from the States. They're like, I'm hungry. Food and drink right there. Mm-hmm. Or if you really want to be smart, you can say to the tourists, hey, if you're bringing your family here, mom and dad can relax on the beach while the kids can get to swim in a shallow area. And when they're not swimming, they can safely play on the playground and go get a lemonade and some fish. If you were smart, that would have been the idea. And if that was the idea, then whoever came up with that is a genius. Because, you know, we're geniuses. But it's just, but what I find funny, and you said this earlier, well, not in the video, but you said this earlier. When everybody made the petition for the ATVs, what happened?
It was dismissed.
By who?
Lieutenant Colonel David Birch.
That's not his name.
Blum. Lieutenant Colonel Blum. He said, oh, your opinion doesn't matter. What I said.
No, that's not what he said. That's not what he said. He said, listen. You can't go there. It's bad. I don't care what you think. You're not gonna hear them. Doesn't matter. I'm doing it. We're doing it. It's done. Now this is the thing that irritates me. That was disregarded by the cabinet minister. Now, Laverne and her cronies.
Okay, yeah.
Well, everybody there was over the age of 65. Everybody that was on TV was over the age of 65. There was not a young person in that room.
No.
And I know there wasn't a young person in that room because I know our friend Miss Maya Palacio goes to those Hamilton Parish meetings and she voices for the young people. She actually got them to, there's a bus stop outside the Adventist church that was all plastic. She got them to wall it up and turn it into a concrete one.
Well, how about that?
How about that?
Well,
it's nice when young people try to get something done. See, we actually have the ability if you old people listen to us. We do live. Actually, I feel that old people's opinion should be if our opinions have been disregarded for so long, I would make the argument that the old people's decision should be disregarded because they ain't gonna be here much longer, and we're gonna deal with the crap afterwards.
Well, if that's the case, then nobody's opinions are gonna be regarded, right? It needs to be a push and pull, a pull and love relationship.
But there isn't.
You can have concessions on the beach as long as they're not directly on the beach. They could be on the grass and you can still have a wheelchair accessible beach. Win-win. I feel like if the thing was not presented as, oh, BTA's idea is trash, here's Miss Farbert's idea and that's what we should go with, instead of it being like, let's find common ground, here's what I think we should add to the BTA's idea.
A little compromise goes a long way.
Yeah, but of course it's the bravado. Once I feel like I can sit down, something happens, I gotta get up and march again. Well, here's the thing. You ain't marched for anything important for a long time. For a long time.
Now, they haven't marched at all since the OVA left.
Okay? And every single protest was marred by a more serious issue. If it was the airport, there was violence. If it was Shelly Bay, there's education. There's always a much bigger issue to fry. If you're marching or coming out against same-sex, there is still drunk driving. There is still road fatalities. So it's always a bigger issue. So when you say you come out to march, you don't march for anything that will impact the generation behind you. The generation behind you is not going to remember, oh, she stopped a lemonade stand and a fish fry from happening. Ooh, whoop-de-doo. Oh, she protested, but the airport was built anyway. Ooh, whoop-de-doo. It's like, they're not going to remember that. But if you came out and protested for something that bloody well mattered, then that will go down in history. Oh, thank goodness, Miss Farber, for protesting and we got that medical school. Thank goodness we got that trade school. I'm not saying I'm putting it all on her, but what I am saying is if you are going to come out and say that you're this activist, which I know you have in the past, but I'm saying in my time, there hasn't been anything important that we protested. There hasn't been government workers and a whole bunch of foolishness. Who can marry who? It's never
nothing
been
useful.
Nothing that's held the government to task that isn't the government that you don't like. Because I feel like if it was proposed by the PLP, there would have been a much more level-headed tone approaching the plan. It would have been, oh, here's what we can add to the plan, Mr. Simmons. Here's what we can add to the plan, and let's find a compromise. But everybody and their mama knows that, look, Miss Ferbert and Mr. Dallas joust, go head-to-head online, because she's always calling them out about, oh, the BTA this. When are we going to start to ask for credibility? If she really cared about the movement and it wasn't a personal vendetta, she would have stepped back and put someone else at the forefront. Because obviously, if I see you online going after Kevin Dallas or vice versa, or however you want to look at it, it looks like a conflict of interest to me.
It's a direct conflict of interest, because if you're constantly jousting against somebody, I feel that an inherent bias would have to be presented. Like,
and how does your minister, who was completely in support of this vision, now, because one of their greatest supporters and one of the old battle axes of the PLP has come forward and said, no, I don't want this, and now the government's on a complete 180. But anyone else that came forward
has more power than the cabinet ministers?
Well, here's the thing. Anyone else that came forward and disagreed with something, like, let's say, same-sex marriage, it was a whole legal battle. When somebody came forward and said, oh, I don't really agree with these ATVs. I have like 600 plus signatures. Nope, doesn't matter. But when it's your friend, all of a sudden we can see clearly, oh, let's just remove it. And it was a complete 180.
It wasn't even a let's compromise, let's talk. Now, I did hear from Ashley that they did speak with, they did have a meeting with them, but I don't know what happened at that meeting. Because, well, obviously I was there and it wasn't publicized, so we don't know. So we have to speak on the situation from the information that we do know. What we do know is that Laverne said no, and just like that,
but it
no.
Was, and they got the signatures, but it's like, we never vet signatures in this country. So we never know who's actually, like how many, who's actually signing. Because online I can make a thing that says Jigaboo 180, and I can turn around and make a thing that says Sporty Guy 97 and vote twice.
But but it goes back to the Colonel Birch thing, because Colonel Birch said that people that don't live in that area don't get to decide what happens there. How many signatures did it say she got? 600?
No, she got over 1,000.
1,000. Does even 1,000 people live in? Okay, maybe 1,000 people live in Hamilton Parish.
Well,
but I live in Hamilton Parish. Nobody came to me to ask. Our friend Maya came to Hamilton Parish. No one came to our house to ask. So it goes back to like, where were these things done? Because I live in Hamilton Parish. I could throw a rock from my house and hit Shelly Bay. So where were these decisions coming from? Who were these people that were being asked? Because it was proposed to me and it was communicated to me from others that this was a Hamilton Parish issue. I didn't receive any letters.
Well,
neither did my neighbors.
It never got that far because the consultative process was the event.
Okay,
Ms. Farbert came forward to protest the consultative event. So basically, she said, I don't want to hear what it or see what it might look like or taste what it might look like.
Oh.
I just know I don't like it. And
so,
because you called Kevin Dallas or you called the BTA and you didn't get the answers that you liked, you said, well, I'm not even going to bother. Because what I need to understand is in most countries and most places, a protest is like the very last thing that you do.
Not the first thing?
Yeah.
Really?
You didn't even give the BTA like the consultative process to go down there and really see for yourself. You came forward and you said, nope, I don't like it. And you know what my mama used to say when I said I didn't like something?
Try it first?
Try it! I don't like bananas. Just try it.
First of all, no. That is disgusting.
Well,
it's completely uncalled for.
How would you know? How would you know?
Because someone put too much mayonnaise in my family potato
So you ate it?
I didn't know.
But did you eat it?
Yes.
So that's how you know.
It's disgusting.
You can't know something bad until you try it.
But this is the problem.
And that's exactly what
this is inherently the problem.
Because I know mayonnaise is gross because I ate it.
No, well, enough about mayonnaise. But this is the problem. I guarantee you, Laverne and her cronies are going to be complaining that the BTA is not doing enough. I guarantee you.
No, she did that already.
I guarantee you. She's going to be like, Kevin Dallas has not been doing enough. While Kevin's sitting there like, well, maybe if you would let me do some shit, you wouldn't be complaining. Literally, you were doing to him what the Republicans did to Obama.
Just do something.
Just let them do something. Try. And if too many people at Shelly Bay, then you can be like, okay, cool. If there's no wheelchair accessibility, okay, cool. If Ashley's Lemonade is spiking the lemonade with vodka and spreading drunk babies all over the place, and if the fish fry place is peeing in the fish fry, then complain about it. But if they're just trying to make a couple of dollars to support the Bermudian economy and our tourism, what the hell's the problem?
The problem is...
The
problem is...
She said no, so it's no?
Yeah, the problem is that we have a society that rejects innovation.
Mm-hmm.
It rejects progress.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to move, and even the premier himself has been trying to progress the country in touches, but he has to do it very strategically. He can't just come out and say,
because he don't want to piss off Aunt Laverne.
And this is it. And as long as that base holds true, it's the reason why both parties are derelict, because both parties are chained to one thing.
We have two parties?
Oh, well, we have a party and a half, but the reason why, because the opposition's always tied to IB.
I thought we were the opposition.
And the PLP is tied to the union and the old establishment. So it's like...
And the problem with the old establishment, it's no because we said so without even consultating the young people who have to pick up this crap after. Because the problem with that mentality is you're going to raise us to be just like you.
But I came online and I said to Miss Fairford, I said, ma'am...
You're an idiot?
Why don't you go to the consultative event and voice your opinions there? That way, at least you can say, well, I went to the consultative event, I saw it, I didn't like it, I'm still gonna protest against it. Okay, well, at least you gave it a try. At least you went and ate a little fish. You know, and I mean, I'm sure you might have attended the event, but you had already launched the opposition before you even...
When you walk into something with a predetermined notion, there's no point of you going in the first place.
Yeah, and I'm just like, well, to me it's very sad, because I feel like we are lowering the bar, as to, well, I don't even want to go and experience something. I just
Damn it, when you lower it, it's on the ground by now.
Yep, I don't like it. BTA, OBA, that's it. I don't like it.
But
that's what it is.
I mean, nope. I'm going to use the trigger word before closing. I'm going to use it.
Nope.
Because the problem is when it comes to people like Laverne, well, obviously I have to attribute this because this is what we've seen. It's all very childish. No. You always tell the young people that they can't do anything, but when presented with the situation, rather than trying to hear people out, rather than trying to understand people's argument, and rather than going to the consultation with an open mind, you had already got it in your mind no, because you didn't want it. Even though you're going to be dead in a few years, and it's not going to affect you.
You did so well.
I'm not done. Is it not the truth?
I mean,
is it not the truth?
You don't say it. You don't say it to somebody.
If you can't handle the truth, don't watch the show.
You can't be dead. That's what you say.
Let me finish. And that, as you said, that mentality of it's no because I said it's no, which is then reinforced by our cabinet ministers who are afraid to tell you no, that sets up a very dangerous precedent. Now, I'm a little disappointed because I had a very, very long and nice conversation with Minister Simmons at the event. I had a very nice conversation with him. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I was a little too harsh. But...
back on the burner. And
you were doing so well.
I'm going to leave with this 2 cents as well. Yeah. When the president is set that the government is not interested in finding a compromise between its base and its agencies, because there was 2 incidents that really stick out to me, and the incident one was with the December 2nd protest inquiry. It was, as soon as first thing Mr. Kane said was, you know, I'm very disappointed in the police, I'm very disappointed in this and that, when he could have said, I feel as though I've spoken to the police personally, and they understand what they did was wrong. They didn't follow proper protocols, and now I will work on mitigating the relationship between the public and the police. If Mr. Simmons has said, Miss Aunt Farbert, I heard what you said, and I want to work with the BTA on finding a probable compromise between yourself and the BTA so that the BTA can go forward with making sure that the tourism is still booming for generations to come. But it's never that. It's always Minister Keynes dropped the hammer on the police, boom. I support the inquiry, and Mr. Simmons dropped the hammer on the BTA, boom. It's not going to happen, we're moving it. And what it says is you are pandering to a base, and it's very obvious. And my thing is, I'm not saying, oh, support government agencies above all else, but what I am saying is that it's your job to find an impasse between your base and what's right and your government agencies. Because if you continue to say what the president is, if I get up and protest and I'm somebody who's crucial to the support of the PLP and you just buckle, you're going to always look like you're pandering. And that looks like a weak government to me. And that is...
But the thing is, we know the government's not weak. We know the premier's out there trying to innovate for certain things. We know he's got his the ministers often try doing this, but it just like it just derails the progression train.
Yep.
When every 5 seconds the old people's like, oh hey, you know, we love you and we support you, but don't do that. No, get rid of that. Get rid of this, because we want it gone. Because we didn't take the time to understand what it actually was, and we didn't decide to find some form of compromise because we already went into a situation with a predetermined notion that we didn't want it without even understanding what the hell it was.
And I think that even with understanding, it needs to still be mitigated, because I will give benefit of the doubt. Ms. Farber did say she reached out to the BTA and they tried to have conversation, didn't quite go well. But my thing is, that is when your cabinet minister should have intervened.
Mm-hmm.
Your cabinet minister should have came and said, listen, if these talks are not getting resolved, Ms. Farber, Mr. Dallas, when you guys are at the consultative event, I'll speak to you both and we'll get to an impasse or set a date during the week where we will get to it. And, you know, we'll resolve it and come back and present a fully fleshed out plan that benefits the community and benefits the tourism agenda. And that's where I dropped the buck right there. It was clearly shot in the dark, BTA equals OBA equation, and I don't like the BTA because they equal the OBA, and that's what I see. And until proven otherwise by supporting and circumstantial evidence, that is my opinion on this entire thing. Because it wasn't operated like a general concern. It wasn't operated how somebody would if they were trying to actually reach middle ground.
You know she's gonna send us an essay in the comments, right? Yeah. I'll let you handle that one.
I respect you, Ms. Ferber.
I don't.
It's been It's a Type of News. I'm Dr. Kermit.
I'm the other guy.
Have a good night. Have a good morning. Have a good day. Don't work too hard. Stay frosty. Peace in the Middle East. How many can I get here?
Should we go buy some Ashes lemonade now?
Yeah, sure. I want to buy it on Shelly Bay. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. You turned that thing off. You crazy.